Save the EPA. This emergency rally to save the Environmental Protection Agency was held on Tuesday, March 25, 2025.
And we're part of an ad hoc coalition with lots of groups called the Emergency Environmental Justice Coalition.
These environmental and climate justice groups rallied in opposition to the attacks by Donald Trump and Elon Musk on the US EPA and on environmental and climate justice policies and programs. This rally took place at the US EPA Region 9 office, 75 Hawthorne Street, San Francisco. Bradley Angel, Executive Director, Green Action for Health and Environmental Justice, introduced the speakers. Leotis Martin led the chants.
So we're going to start to pick a line, say starting. Can we get one person right here for this end and another person 20 yards away, and we're just going to kick off our event today. I think the EPA, the Environmental Polluters Agency that Trump wants it to be, is here, and we're here to defend the Environmental Protection Agency, who doesn't always protect us, but we need them. So I'm going to give this mic to Leotis. Hello! What do we want? What do we need it?
Clean air.
What do we want?
Clean air.
When do we need it?
Now.
What do we want? Clean air. When do we want it?
Now.
We want clean air now. How about that? It's not natural for a kid to be born with club palate. It's not natural for a kid to be born with one leg.
Bradley Angel speaks about Donald Trump's new EPA Administrator, Lee Zeldin, attempting to gut environmental laws and eliminate environmental justice programs.
So-called EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, the Trump hack, put out on March 12th his 31 points, completely destroying the mission of the EPA. They want to allow increased in particulate matter pollution, reduce mercury standards, allow more wastewater, more mining, more coal, more nuclear. People are going to die. I wonder if Josh Cook, the new EPA Region 9 Administrator, is here, and if he is here, and if he's not a coward, he should come out.
I'm Ian Harrison. I'm the Executive Director of the Marie Harrison Community Foundation. One thing I want to talk about today is life, right? Life led with love, that's why we're all out here, right? Because we want to extend our longevity on this planet, correct?
Correct.
Can I have everybody say, can we live?
Can we live?
All right, when I say can we, can you say live? Can we?
Live.
Clean air and water should be a human right. We shouldn't have to beg for that. In our communities across this country, just like ours, we are not protected by the agencies that are put in place to protect us as human beings. It's the God that we serve, right? You have to have a spirit, a balance to do this. There's no way that we should have to stay in an industrial sacrifice zone. There's no way that we should have the highest rates of asthma and respiratory lung disease amongst youth and adults in the southeast sector of San Francisco. Is that right?
That's right.
Don't take it no more. What y'all say?
Right.
My name is Ian Harrison. I'm the Executive Director of Marie Harrison Community Foundation for Social and Environmental Justice, and I'm out.
Hi, I'm Janet Johnson, Richmond Shoreline Alliance, a project of Physicians for Social Responsibility, San Francisco Bay. Environmental justice organizations around the Bay. 1,000 Grandmothers is here. 350 Bay Area. No Coal in Oakland. Mothers and Fathers Committee, Bayview, Hunters Point. We are here, and we are holding the line. The new EPA chief, Lee Zeldin, issued the biggest environmental rollback in U.S. history. He says that the agency mission is, quote, to lower the cost of buying a car, heating a home, and running a business. The EPA does not exist to boost profit. It exists to protect the environment and public health.
I'm Ted Franklin from No Coal in Oakland. It's really a very important thing for the EPA to keep the fight against coal going. It's played a key role in determining that the emissions that come from fossil fuels are causing the climate crisis. In No Coal in Oakland, we've been fighting for 10 years. These fools came up with a plan to take coal from the ground in Utah, bring it by train all the way across the western states through California, through many urban communities along the tracks in the East Bay, and take it into Oakland, put it on ships, and send it to Japan to be burned. That's the plan 10 years ago, and we've been fighting them for 10 years. Now there's a billionaire guy who's suing for $1 billion against the city for its opposition to coal. know, West Oakland has terrible air pollution, terrible health conditions resulting from that. We have a plan for environmental justice, but they also have a plan, which is to scrub the words environmental justice off of their websites. We're here, we're ready, and we're going to fight.
My name is Nicole Domino. I just want Donald Trump really to know, if he keep killing us, he don't have nobody to bully. Donald Trump.
I'm Leonis Martin. We trying to save lives. Not just our lives, but everybody else's lives that live in these areas. People that come from the other side of town come to Bayview, they're acceptable to the same thing we're acceptable to because you're breathing the same air. That's why we fight so hard, because we just don't love ourselves, we love everybody else. That's what this do. It helps us to love other people. It's about love. With all these things that's happening, it's not natural. People don't die for no reason. All we have to do is just look in our community and we'll find the reason. They're not looking in our community. No. They don't give a damn about us. All they care about is their money. God bless y'all.
Unconditional, a poet.
I'm representing all things Bayview. I'm going to say a poem real quick for y'all. This is called Brown Skin. Brown skin love the skin you're in. The sun decided to kiss you longer than the shade did. Brown skin love the skin you're in. The coral hair and natural curls. Brown skin love the skin you're in. Remember, brown skin, you the one that everyone lean on. Brown skin, you're a leader, not just put on a pretty stool. Brown skin, everyone wants to be your twin. Whether you're pulp or curvy, skinny or bony. Brown skin, you always have someone trying to be you. Brown skin, love the skin you're in. Cause brown skin, you never duplicate it. You are the original. You are the owner of all men, brown skin. Don't ever forget you are the best of all mankind, brown skin. You always set trends. Brown skin, love the skin you're in. Brown skin.
My name is Imari Keith. I'm 25 years old. I think back on my time as a youth, the first time that Trump was elected, and I remember kids crying in the hallway, completely demoralized. I think about where we are now, and that Trump is back, and now he has Elon and a few others, and there are people who feel that what he's saying is right. We have the power to work together to really create true change. We've sued Trump's administration over 100 times, and we'll also be out here in the streets with y'all. Trump also closed its Office of Environmental Justice, and this affects people that come from our communities. I grew up in Bayview Hunters Point. It's a lot of folks from Bayview Hunters Point here today. We are one of the most neglected areas of San Francisco when it comes to environmental justice. Let's talk about what this pullback will really do. Send thousands of children to the hospital and force even more kids to miss school, pollute the air and water in communities across the country, cause thousands of Americans to die each year, speed up disastrous climate change. I mean, I could list these things in there on paper, but these are all things we've been seeing. We're here today to just let y'all know we gonna still be here. Thanks, y'all.
I'm Anushka. I'm here from Tri-Valley Cares up in Livermore. I'm standing here today because I'm angry and I'm heartbroken. The EPA's latest rollback on environmental protections, it doesn't just feel like a policy change, it feels pretty personal. It's targeting our breath, our water, our communities. It's the difference that lies between safety and sickness, between survival and sacrifice. I work with communities living near toxic waste sites, like the Livermore Lab, which makes and tests nuclear weapons. These communities already carry the burden of pollution, of contamination, and of neglect. What happens when the very agency that's supposed to protect us decides to dismantle and treats the people like it's disposable? These 31 actions, they disempower every single one of us. They silence our voices. They raise decades of environmental justice work, especially the work of BIPOC communities. This is not just a climate issue. It's about health, housing, race, jobs, gender. Everything is under fire. This is not a single issue fight. And we'll show up again and again, no matter how much they try to shut us down. Thank you.
Matt Holmes.
The California Environmental Justice Coalition. I'm happy to be back in San Francisco where we got Baby's 100 Point. I used to be a substitute teacher, Scab. I think I got a soul down there. I might not have had one before that. Showed me the gross inequality of California, the most unfair state in the country. Sitting here with our allies who are helping us to do something about that. I was a part of a group of people working with the Tribal Water Rights Coalition that was finally suing California over its racist water rights and its allocations. Basically, if you stole your land long enough ago, no matter how violent you did it, you got magical water rights. Doesn't matter how much it rains, doesn't matter how much it snows, you get to take as much as you want. So we out there watching Gallo in the San Joaquin Valley, which is the greatest wealth-creating agricultural region in all of human history, and it's the most poverty-impacted households in America. And it's all because it goes right back to these senior water rights that are pretend magical water rights that have been given away through acts of white violence. And we finally had the USEPA pick it up and say, we feel you, we're gonna sue California, we got your back. Yeah. So where's that EPA at now? It's so goddamn unfair. So thanks for the chance to speak today, Brad.
Dave Brody, I'm the Policy Director for Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, San Francisco. I'm having flashbacks. 55 years ago, I was in anti-war protest, and we were trying to get rid of a liar, a cheat, and a criminal, and we got him out of the White House, and we never thought we would have to deal with a despot, a liar, and a criminal again, but obviously we were wrong. Now, here we are. The irony is not lost on me that we're fighting for an agency created by the only thing Nixon got right, the EPA. Just to entertain my flashback further, back then, we used to chant, hell no, I won't go. Let's reprise that to say, hell no, we won't fold. Hell no, we won't fold.
The Trump administration is a criminal organization. There's nothing that they're not trying to overturn. The right to union, the right to environmental protection, the right to affirmative action. And I just want to correct the brother for one thing. Nixon did a good thing with the EPA, but he also signed the affirmative action laws that changed so much for Black, Latino, Asians, and for women and LGBTQ. But why are they looking to destroy everything that we depend on? Our lives, our social security, our environment, the water, the land, the air, profits. But there is judges who are fighting right now. There are lawyers from ACLU to Sierra Club to everyone fighting. And what did Trump do? He issued a decree saying anyone who files a frivolous suit, meaning anything that opposes him, will face jail time. The EPA was born in 1970. The movement was what created the EPA. Let's bring us all together and fight back.
Baby Hunters Point, we're surrounded by some of the largest standing and mobile sources of pollution. This is not the time for the EPA to slack. I was inspired to share with you guys some of the sites that we're fighting to get cleaned up. The wastewater treatment facility, Pan Glow Services, Darling Animal Rendering Plant, Martin Marietta Concrete Crushing Facility, C-Mex Concrete Crushing Facility, Central Concrete Supply, Hunters Point Naval Shipyard Superfund Site, Yosemite Slough, Brownfields, Green Waste Management. Someone asked me about Prologis.
Prologis wanted to invest in this Bayview real estate as a parking lot for heavily polluting diesel trucks.
It was because of the community members and the residents showing up at the public hearing. We sent Prologis backpacking. We did that. Not the EPA, not the Cal EPA. We did that. They think they're the Terminator. Well, we are the termination.
Carol Harvey. I've been investigating Treasure Island for the last 11 years. That place is so polluted. They're trying to build condos on top of that. The Navy had schools for sailors there. Then they trundled 38,000 sailors through there. Didn't tell them the place was radioactive. I publish articles about this on the Bayview newspaper. They see my stuff online. They call me. They say, I didn't know when I went there that it was radioactive. The Navy didn't tell me. I think this is a real possibility that they're shutting down the government and all these agencies because they don't see any reason for them. We gotta fight like hell to keep the EPA. We have to fight for our government. This was the first successful stab at pure equality. People in Europe worked for 400 years to create this system. Well, you can't run true democracy next to capitalism. Capitalism has got to go.
I'm Paul English with Scientist Rebellion, a group of scientists that advocate non-violent direct action. We're here today to say the climate crisis is also part of the environmental crisis, it's part of the public health crisis that we have to rise up and fight against. Zeldin put out in his press release, we're going to increase the income for all Americans. It's going to be for the polluters, the oil and gas industry, by increasing levels of particulate pollution, allowing mercury back into the environment, one of the strongest neurodevelopmental toxicants for children's brains. This is going to be an economic disaster for poor families. I worked in public health for over 20 years at the California Department of Public Health. We investigated the exposure of fine particulate matter in many communities throughout California, the Central Valley, the Imperial Valley. People that live in these areas have shorter life expectancies of years. Your health should not be determined by your zip code. Thank you so much for being here. People, not profits.
Gary Hughes,
Climate justice group called Biofuel Watch. I want to spend a moment speaking about the new administrator, Josh F.W. Cook. He used to work for Doug LaMalfa, super right-wing congressperson up in the northeast part of the state. With a whole bunch of people in the state, and especially with community folks in Stockton, we've been fighting a giant wood pellet export scheme that a company called Golden State Natural Resources had signed a memorandum of understanding with the UK climate villain Drax. And what they want to do is manufacture 1 million wood pellets a year from California's forests. 2 giant new wood pellet plants, one in Lassen County and the other in Tuolumne County. They want to export 1 million wood pellets a year out through Stockton. Stockton has basically been given the shaft. And even though we reached out to the US EPA during the previous administration, they really didn't have the time for the issue. We're really worried about what Administrator Josh Cook is going to do about this project. This is a person who's coming from a timber industry background. This guy worked for Doug LaMalfa, who took a picture with 2 of the executives from Golden State Natural Resources, not in front of the United States flag and not in front of the flag of the state of California. They took their picture in front of the state of Jefferson flag. This is the kind of people that we're dealing with. So I ask everyone to keep your guard up, be highly attentive to what's going on with this giant wood pellet export scheme, and let's rally, especially to folks in Stockton who haven't been given a good chance to really weigh in and stop this project. We're going to keep your eyes on you, Josh.
Mishma from Thousand Grandmothers.
I want to thank all my grandmothers that are here today to represent our future generations. And I want to thank the organizers and particularly the black women from Bayview Hunters Point that have been carrying this struggle on for generations, their children and grandchildren. I also want to tell a quick story. A couple of days ago, we were having a celebration near Heron's Head Park, very close to the shipyard. And all of a sudden, this woman, who some of you may know, June San, she's a Buddhist nun, and she showed up. She's from Japan, but here she was on this day of celebration. She comes to the shipyard every so often to pray for the victims of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, and also for the victims who had to work at the shipyard, and it's mostly black and other people of color.
Like me.
And like Leotis. And
where are you?
They sandblasted the ships that the bombs were assembled in Bayview Hunters Point. They were taken by a big aircraft carrier out to the Pacific, and the planes, those were the ones that bombed Japan. She comes to pray for the victims there and also the victims in Hunters Point that were the workers that were forced to sandblast those ships that returned with all that radioactivity and sandblasted without proper equipment. So this made me recognize that our military is contaminating the world everywhere. We have over 700 bases. We don't clean them up, and there's 250 here in the US. They're probably all on the Superfund site list. We have a struggle not just to rebuild a healthy,
world for all, but to prevent the robber barons that are trying to control our country. And we will prevail. The planet is more important than profit. Planet over profit.
Planet over profit. Thank you, 1,000 grandmothers. Let's hear it for them. Okay, we're nearing the end of our program. Hi, my name is Farrar. I'm a resident of San Francisco and a citizen of the United States of America, a resident of planet Earth. I heard about this from Indivisible SF. It's a local grassroots organization trying to coordinate efforts to oppose the current aggression at the local, state, and federal levels. Also, I want to remember to tell you about the Tesla takedown every Saturday from 12 p.m. noon to 2 p.m. at the Tesla showroom on Van Ness. I think it's 999 Van Ness O'Farrell. Every week, every Saturday, it's getting bigger and bigger. And so come on to Tesla and protest the capitalist takeover billionaires of the federal government. We're standing on land that was stolen through deceit and violence from the indigenous peoples of this continent, attributed to the Cree Nation. Only when the last tree has been cut down, the last fish caught, and the last stream poisoned, will we realize we cannot eat money. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Skylar. I'm with Green Action for Health and Environmental Justice. So much of what I planned to say and wrote down has been said by my wonderful peers who spoke before me. A couple weeks ago, the so-called EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin announced the biggest deregulation action in U.S. history with the promise to unleash American energy. We are here to oppose this dangerous assault on environmental justice, our communities, and our planet by collectively calling for a stop to the attempts to gut the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. We oppose the elimination and weakening of pollution rules, regulations, and laws that were put in place to protect our communities, ecosystems, and waterways. These regulations often directly help protect communities all around the country from hazards like industrial pollution, environmental contamination, and poor air quality, and we need more of them, not less. We need the EPA to center justice, grow stronger, more protective, not lose power, and further cater to dirty industries. From our Bay Area communities at risk from sea level rise and shoreline contamination, to our Central Valley communities struggling from hazardous waste to pesticides, to our indigenous communities facing invasive mining practices, to the Moss Landing community impacted by the recent lithium battery fire. Too many of our communities are impacted and harmed by pollution and toxic exposure, with many impacted more so because of environmental racism. We need an EPA that puts protecting the environment and the communities that live within them first, and not sacrifice that by, quote, powering the Great American Comeback. This Great American Comeback outlined by the EPA includes 5 pillars where only one of them has to do with protecting the environment. The others include, quote, restoring American energy dominance, permitting reform, making the United States the artificial intelligence capital of the world, and bringing back American auto jobs, which I don't really know how that has to do with the EPA's core mission. This EPA would not serve the people, it would serve industry and billionaires, and we will not sit idly by and watch the EPA crumble. Thank you everyone so much for being here. Thank you everyone who spoke. Thank you for all the organizations that showed up.
What do we want? Clean air! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? God bless y'all. Loving you is wrong. I don't want to be right.
God bless you, Leo.
And we'll be back. Thank you all.
This action was organized by the Emergency Environmental Justice Coalition. These 13 organizations with the Emergency Environmental Justice Coalition were present at this rally. The end. Leotis Martin gets the last word. Carol Harvey, investigative reporter and videographer.
God bless y'all. Loving you is wrong. I don't want to be right.